What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I've got another interesting and creepy TikToks lined up for you guys. Those of you who haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. Like and subscribe to my channel, and let's build this channel from the ground up. I'll see you guys in the video.
Please don't fuck me over, bruh. Please don't fuck me over, bruh. I literally begged that man, bruh, on the Bible, man. I begged that man and his wife not to do me like this, bro. And they literally turned around less than 48 hours later and did me exactly how I wish that they didn't, bruh. And it's like, if I don't speak up and I don't tell my story and I don't shine light on this, bro, it's gonna be people still signed to them that can't get out of these deals because people be scared to speak up. And I'm getting DMs and texts from fake investigators and people trying to call me and tell me that they know where I stay. I'm getting told that these people are part of a bloodline and I gotta be careful with the attorneys that I'm dealing with.
Man, you can see, I don't know that artist, but you can see she's terrified, man. She is absolutely terrified.
Guys, this is crazy. Does anybody know what's happening? It's like a light show. It's all over the place. This is out of control. This is crazy. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. Am I going out of my mind? What's happening? This is the coolest thing. This is the coolest thing.
We have gotten so used
A lot of shit happening in Canada these days.
If you get time, watch this.
Cows are about 5% of global emissions, which is pretty unbelievable.
Wild.
And if your goal is to get to zero, you don't get to skip the cows or the steel or the cement or any of those big areas. So there's a whole class of solutions of making meat without cows. Today, it doesn't taste as good and it costs too much. In terms of the cows, we pursued many solutions. So one is to vaccinate the cows in a way that their gut bacteria that emit the methane, which is also called natural gas or CH4, which is the second most important greenhouse gas, you can vaccinate them and that species of bacteria isn't there. Their stomachs are very special because they can eat grass. It's a 3-stage fermentation process, basically. There's another way you can change what they eat, and you could either put that in their water or their feed. There is a drug to change the microbiome, not a vaccine, but a drug. That looks very promising. And then there's a solution where you stick a sort of a metal thing into the skin of the cow, and it actually burns the methane. And all of these look to be quite cheap and implementable even in Africa.
I feel that man is just pure evil.
Turn it around, turn it around. Yeah, so you can see what it is.
What the fuck is that?
Ew, what is that?
It's avocados.
Oh, it's an avocado.
Yeah.
How do you know? What is it?
Or maybe not.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, let's wash it off. Let's see.
What is that? What the fuck is that? My baby ate some of that.
What the fuck?
What is that?
I don't know.
Man, I must start opening my baby cereal. These baby foods. Doesn't seem like nothing's good anymore in this world.
Check this out.
There's a technique that Satanists use to put thought into children and to other people's mind, and then they sit back to see what happens. But those Satanists, the teachers, would come back to satanic rituals at times and say, there's certain children that we cannot project to. And it is like they have a blue circle of fire, like a torch, a blue torch around them. So later we figured out those were the children that their parents were praying for. Those were the children that the parents were praying the blood of Christ over those children every morning as they leave the house. So those children can't be touched or projected to, you see. And these are the things that parents need to know and what their authority in Christ is.
I don't know if parents still do that, but when I was young, before I leave the house every morning for school, my parents used to pray, and we all needed to pray before we go to school. And once you get to school, every morning it starts with a prayer. But here in South Africa, they still do it. All the primary schools, every morning you have to go through a prayer. If you're a different religion, you can just sit there and you don't have to pray with, but everybody sits and there's a prayer before the day starts in the assembly. Tell me if in your countries, if they still do the same thing. Because I know in some countries, they're taken out completely.
Are unaware that the fruit they eat from the supermarket has been treated with a product called Smart Fresh. I want you to see it in action. First, they place the fruit in a hermetically sealed chamber. Then they drop the Smart Fresh into some water to form a gas, and then they lock up the gas chamber nice and tight. They leave the fruit there for about 24 hours so that it can soak up all the gas, and voila, your fruit has been contaminated. I mean Smart Fresh. Now let's look at an apple that's been treated with Smart Fresh and compare it to an apple that hasn't been treated with Smart Fresh. This time-lapse video shows the changes over 3 months. As you can see, the Smart Fresh apple hasn't changed a bit. Most people don't even realize that the fruit they buy at the grocery store can literally be a year old before it's actually sold, and you wouldn't know the difference. Let's see what the makers of Smart Fresh have to say about their product. They say the active ingredient of Smart Fresh is methylcyclopropene, or MCP. They describe it as a simple hydrocarbon molecule. Well, examples of simple hydrocarbons are as follows: butane, propane, and even hexane. It turns out they're gassing the fruit with petroleum-based products, ladies and gentlemen. Now they just call it a simple hydrocarbon so that nobody worries about it. I mean, who doesn't like a little diesel with their fruit, right? Their website also states that this can be used with other fruits and vegetables. Smart Fresh is authorized for use with organic foods. And the worst part here is that people are totally unaware.
If this is how things are going to be, we need to start growing our own vegetables and fruit. Because it seems like they are poisoning our fruit and vegetable systems also now. So at the end of the day, there will be nothing healthy to eat. Utterly disgusting, man. And that's what we feed our children. That's what we even eat sometimes. But everything these days is about mass production and money. Sometimes money is the root of all evil.
What if I told you that every time you consume natural flavourings, you could be eating something developed by human fetal cells? Yes, you heard that right. Did you know that some of the biggest food companies, Pepsi, Nestle and Kraft, have used a biotech company called Synomics to create flavour enhancers? But here's the disturbing part. These artificial flavours were originally tested using HEK293, a cell line derived from aborted fetal tissue. And because of legal loopholes, they don't have to tell you. Let me repeat that. Natural flavours don't necessarily mean they come from nature. They can be chemically engineered in a lab using biotech derived from human cells. Here's how it works. The food industry knows that processed food loses its flavour, so instead of using real ingredients, they bring in biotech companies to develop flavour enhancers. Synomics found that HEK293 cells, originally from fetal tissue, react to flavours like human taste buds. By testing these flavours on cells, they created additives that made processed food better, addicting millions of people worldwide. And then these chemical compounds were rebranded as natural flavours. Here's why it matters. The food industry is one giant deceptive machine. They use loopholes to keep consumers in the dark. Today, even natural flavours can contain over 100 synthetic compounds, developed using biotech processes we're not told about. It's about profit, not health. And
a child born in a hospital in the United States today, within hours of coming from source into this, into this body, the first thing that happens to them is pharmaceutical intervention without really asking, there's barely informed consent about this. That child's eyes are smeared with erythromycin ointment and they're given a hepatitis B vaccine in their first day of life. And the Hep B vaccine is for hepatitis B, which is a sexually transmitted disease and IV drug user disease, of course, which babies are not going to be exposed to. And yet every single baby in America is getting the intervention. So from literally the day we are born, we're on this treadmill.
So, why not test the pregnant mother for those?
They do.
Okay, so
they give it to the women who, even if they have tested negative,
which
they give
would be
it to
the
babies.
overwhelming majority.
Absolutely.
So I don't understand, why would you treat a child on his first day of life for illnesses for a fact he doesn't have, it isn't going to get?
So a child's born, let's just take the side. The child's born. Hep B is spread by two routes: sexually transmitted disease or intravenous needles. So my 1-day-old isn't going to be having sex or doing heroin right away. So what's the purpose of getting this on the schedule in the first day of life, the first hours of life? And if you push, and I welcome anyone to do this with their doctor, you get to two things. You get to the American patients are too stupid to remember, so we need to do it right away. That's literally like what they
I have no idea what just happened to the sound.
Are people taking it as normal salt?
Why does Himalayan salt look like raw meat? Look at the images. That pink marbled flesh. Almost like something alive. What if I told you it was? See, ancient texts, like the Book of Enoch, tell us giants once roamed this world. The Nephilim, beings born from the union of fallen angels and human women, massive, powerful, possessing knowledge far beyond anything we have today. Think about it. The oversized doors, the petrified trees taller than skyscrapers, the scattered remains of giant skeletons they keep misplacing. Now take Tartaria, a lost civilization with technology and architecture that still defies explanation. Who built it? Who had the strength? The knowledge? Maybe the Nephilim. But it all ended with the Great Flood, their bodies buried, forgotten, or maybe not. What if geology is just ancient biology? What if those mountains, those stones, that salt, are them, hardened over millennia, fossilized giants beneath our feet? And Himalayan salt? Maybe it's not just salt. Maybe it's what's left of them. Explains why it's so healing, so powerful, so mystical.
This is just a theory, not a fact.
Interesting, eh?
Shocked if you know what people are doing with AI. They're literally taking children's images, turning them into sex dolls, and selling 3 to 4-year-old sex dolls on Amazon. Like, it's nuts. It's not. 300 million files are shared a day. It's called CSCAM, which is child sexual abuse material for 18 and over. These are children who other people and predators are requesting to see images and videos of them being sexually abused.
Guys, with the dangers of new technology that's come out, this is the reality that we're facing. So the best thing you can do is just keep the little ones off our social media. You know, there's so many people who have random friends and followers on these things. So best thing to do is keep them off it. And you heard the guy about the convictions. How many were convicted out of how many thousands and thousands of images? So it just shows you the police ain't cracking down.
What would you do if they brought the power grid down? And by they, I mean if the government purposefully brought the power grid down. And I'm not asking that question for fun. I'm asking that question because the World Economic Forum is predicting that a cyber pandemic, you can look this up, they've been running exercises about it this year, is inevitable. You're probably saying, what is a cyber pandemic? It doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, what are we even talking about? Well, first and foremost, the reason I'm even paying attention to the World Economic Forum and their exercises is because they notoriously, in 2019, ran an exercise for a coronavirus pandemic that oddly all became true. I mean, without one slight difference, they said that the coronavirus was going to escape from a wet market in South America. Of course, when the coronavirus swept the world in 2020, they said that it escaped from a wet market in China. You can still look that up, by the way. That's not a conspiracy theory. They simulated that coronavirus pandemic. It was the World Economic Forum in collaboration with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, in collaboration with Johns Hopkins University. And the website is still up, and they say, you know, the coronavirus pandemic is inevitable. And then boom, it happened the very next year. So people say it's a conspiracy theory to believe that they knew that the coronavirus pandemic was going to happen. You don't have to believe it was a conspiracy theory, or you can believe it wasn't a conspiracy theory. It's up to you. I don't really care. The point is that they made the prediction, they called it inevitable, and then it happened immediately. So for me personally, that signals to me that I should probably pay attention the next time the World Economic Forum makes a prediction and calls it inevitable. And lo and behold, they are predicting that a coronavirus pandemic, a cyber pandemic, is going to happen, and that it is once again inevitable. So if you look into the exercise that they have run this year, I believe they ran it in July. They've been meeting and talking about the cyber pandemic, what it would look like. Essentially, their idea is that they're going to have to sanitize the internet because a bug, think of it as like a coronavirus for your computer, is going to sweep globally. And the only way they're going to be able to stop this bug from infecting everything is to effectively shut down the internet, right? And they were talking about bringing down the power grid in an effort to do this. So imagine the government bringing down the power grid and you would not have access to anything that required an electrical charge.
If they were to do that, I think that would be one big agenda they are pushing. Just imagine, there's a cyber attack, they switch off our internet, first of all. Secondly, they switch off the power grid. Those are the two things we use on a daily basis. Every second of our life, it's being used. Now, if you take away that, it's going to affect everything, all businesses. Where's that going to leave us? Imagine. And how do you prepare for this? Stock up on everything that you can. That's basically it, what you can do to protect you and your family from starvation, hunger, thirst, and all that. Riots are going to start. There's a lot of shit that's going to happen. And I think when this happens, it's even going to be worse than the coronavirus. There's a lot of shit that's going to change.
An artificial spacecraft that came here a long time ago. At least according to two Soviet scientists who carefully analyzed all the data brought back from the moon in 1970. They even published an article about it in Sputnik magazine titled, "Is the Moon Creation by Alien Intelligence?" But this wasn't the first time this idea was suggested, as ancient myths all talk about the moon and have something very interesting to say about it. If you go back far enough, eventually you get to one thing that many myths agree on: a time before the moon was here. The Proselynes is a period written by Roman and Greek authors about a people called the Arcadians, who were here before there was a moon in the heavens. In Bolivia, on the other side of the world, the ancient Tiwanaku also write about the same period, a time before there was a moon, and that it arrived here around 13,000 years ago. In Africa, the Zulu people have legends that explicitly state the moon is hollow, was brought into orbit by dragons, and is inhabited by reptilian beings. Yup, we're back in lizard people territory. And that there was a time when the entire earth was covered by a thick blanket of water vapor, so much that you could barely see the sun. When the moon arrived, all this water vapor pooled together on Earth's surface, causing a global flood that restarted civilization. Sounds familiar. And that it also stabilized the climate and changed the tides of the ocean, which, mind you, this was written thousands of years ago. We didn't even know about the moon's effects on our tides until more recent times. Now lately, official reports by professional astronomers have seen some crazy shit on the moon that we just can't explain. On March 7th, 1971, while observing the moon, a cloud of water vapor randomly appeared on the surface. It covered roughly 260 square kilometers and stayed there for over 14 hours. No explanation. We have multiple individual reports of astronomers seeing a glowing mist on the moon, all on separate occasions. All of these independent sightings were reported coming from the same spot, the Plato crater. Flashing lights with no explanation on the moon are surprisingly nothing new, as astronomers have been reporting them for hundreds of years. Today, NASA officially reports over 2,000 sightings of light flashes on the moon since 554 AD that couldn't be explained and still continue to this day. These flashing lights and mist on the moon were so common they were even given a name: transient lunar phenomena, TLP. Like the infamous blue gem, a glowing blue light that was seen out of the Aristarchus crater on the moon in 1992 and has been seen many times since. Close-up satellite photos of the lunar surface very frequently show physical anomalies that can't be explained as natural formations, much like we see on Mars, like tall spires much too high to be naturally forming, as confirmed by both Boeing and NASA scientists themselves. Strange structures with straight edges, perfect angles, squares, circles, and massive glowing objects that look nothing like their surrounding environments. Some of these discoveries even made front-page news of major publications, but were later denied by all media and even photoshopped out of official photos. And not surprisingly, the majority of these anomalous structures were found on the dark side of the moon, the side that we can't see from Earth. Almost like they're intentionally being hidden from us. Leading experts like US Air Force photo technician Carl Wolf noticed these himself and insists that artificial structures very much exist on the moon, which today these photos are either edited out or no longer available from NASA, who claim them to be just optical illusions. Not to mention the dozens of ultra-zoomed amateur videos of orbs and other crafts seen flying on and around the moon. Like, what is going on there? I really gotta get me one of those telescopic zoom cameras and try this out myself. All of these strange, unexplainable moon phenomena and characteristics kind of make it seem like the moon isn't the empty, desolate body we think it is, but rather possibly inhabited by an intelligent intelligent species who conduct operations on, or more likely below, the lunar surface. Perhaps even being some sort of massive, hollowed out spacecraft that came here a long, long time ago and sits in perfect orbit around us, watching our every move. Let's be real, NASA. That's no moon now, is it?
Did y'all see just how bad that earthquake was that just went off? So far, it's reported that 69 people jumped out of buildings because of the earthquake. Sorry to interrupt, but this gets really, really weird in 1 second. Did y'all see the rest that came out while the earthquake news was coming out? So not only was this earthquake registered at first as a 6.6 in the Middle East with all this stuff going on, but look at this right here. I had to block out some words. It's completely unrelated, but how coincidental that those arrests were made about the same time. Completely unrelated though, I'm just giving you the news, TikTok. So wait, let me get this straight. So first we have a dang near nuke-sized explosion in a Moscow region while they're already on high alert from hours before that. Remember what I showed you last night? So we have that going on. Meanwhile, their leaders meeting with almost every single Middle Eastern country, and amid all the conflict, we wake up to this huge eruption, which was strikingly similar to biblical Rome. And those of y'all that remember the dream I had 3 years ago, I told you concerning this whole situation, then just now we have a 6.6 earthquake in the Middle East. Pretty weird the way things work out, right? Especially when they're making those really weird arrests. Like I told y'all, Rome is falling and we're Rome.
This celebrity exposes how celebrities are actually controlled. Watch this.
Ultra breaking down and like how he was waking up and they try to like fucking put his ass back to sleep. You know, because you guys think like celebrities are like, oh, I want to be fucking rich, famous, but like, you have no idea that when you sign up for that shit, you're more of a slave than normal people. Because normal people can still do shit. You know. The only boss you have is like your boss at work, but like celebrities, like they have an illusion like they're all free and stuff, they have all this money, but like literally they can't do shit. That's why they have like
She's
star
telling y'all
whackers.
the truth.
When you get out of line, like they'll whack your ass, you know, because like they're providing you so much money and fame and all this shit that you're literally, you gotta do what they tell you to do. And if you step out of line like Kanye West, like how he was like, you know, supporting Donald Trump because his like mind control was breaking down, he was waking up out of his like slave out of the puppet slave breeding that he's been. So, like, if they're paying you that much money, like, you gotta do what they tell you. You know what I mean? Like, you have a little bit of freedom for artistic freedom, if that. But then when you step out of line with the political stuff and, like, you start waking up and they see that, oh, they're coming to whack your ass.
Every now and again, a little bit of truth slips out. Stay weird.
There was a celebrity that said, even all the money they have in their bank account, they can't spend it the way they feel they want to spend it. They have to get a certain type of permission to spend any of that money. It's their money, but not really their money. So is it really worth it to sell your soul? I mean, you are being controlled. You're not you anymore. That's what they say. You're losing your soul. Because you are a puppet and you shall do whatever they tell you to do. But hey, that's it for the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. I have another one dropping very soon. And remember, those of you who haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. Like and subscribe, support my content, and let's build this channel from the ground up. I'll see you guys in the next one.